Clorox Sentiva smells like grapefruit. Cleans like Clorox. And feels like...
Okay, we could be here all day. Try Clorox Sentiva for a trusted clean with long-lasting freshness. Also available in lavender and coconut. Use as directed.
Now streaming on Peacock.
By all that's holy, Bridget Jones.
Hello, old friend.
Bridget Jones is back
We are about to embark on an adventure.
for one final chapter.
Anything else I can help with?
Yes.
Experience every moment
Do you think about what might have been?
and fall in love
To Bridget.
all over again.
It's time to live.
Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy. Streaming now only on Peacock.
At LinkedIn, we know hiring is a big deal for your small business. Sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming. LinkedIn uses data that you can't find anywhere else to give you the best candidates, all so you can feel confident you're hiring the best person for the job. And even a little hiring bliss. See why 86% of small businesses who post a job on LinkedIn get a qualified candidate within a day. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/achieve. LinkedIn, your next great hire is here.
Matt, we are back with, I would say, in the grand scheme, one of the more controversial Al Yankovic originals, Drivin Song. And to talk about this, we had to bring on one of our most controversial guests.
Oh, yes.
UHJeff.
That's me. Dropping the madness.
Jeff, I am so glad you are here to help us talk about this one.
Me too. I just want to watch you guys squirm as we talk about.
Well, so here's the thing. I have never fully decided with this song, and maybe we can discuss this and figure it out. I have never fully decided if this is a subversion of toxic masculinity by having this truck driver be like a drag queen, or if it's a subversion of gender where this is actually a female truck driver who's just singing in a traditional deep country voice, because the lyrics don't, at least unless I'm missing a line or two, the lyrics don't really firmly establish the gender of this person singing.
Yeah.
Solidly.
That is correct.
So, that is correct. So, if I may, because this is the best intro I have, Drivin Song, we talk about this periodically on this show, has been performed live 10 times ever. All of them on the first Vanity tour. And I was fortunate enough to be at one of those shows.
Nice.
I saw him do this in Huntington, New York on March 17th. And on this tour, they recorded every show. And these were all on Stitcher for a long time before, unfortunately, Stitcher went under and now they're sort of floating around that other part of the internet. But I have the audio saved. And before playing this song, Al did a little intro. And I wrote it down. So I'm going to read to you how Al introduced Drivin Song. He said, "This next song, some people think this song is problematic and not very woke to be playing in 2018. But I don't think the issue is that it's not politically correct. I think the issue is that it leaves too much open to interpretation. Is this song about a cross-dressing male truck driver? Or is this a song about a female truck driver that has a particularly low voice? Or is this song just a completely shameless ripoff of Lumberjack Song by Monty Python? It could be anything. It's open to you to decide. So we're just going to play the song and let the judgment land where it does."
Oh, I love that.
And then he proceeded to play it 5 more times before retiring it forever, I think. So that's Al acknowledging it in a way that I was surprised and struck by when I saw him do it live, that he at least acknowledged that he had seen it come up in conversation about what this song means and what you're supposed to take from it, I guess. Yeah. And I love that he actually references Lumberjack Song, because that is a perfect... Yeah. I think that actually explains it better than anything.
For sure.
We have to talk about that particular track, of course.
Well, and I truly believe this is Lumberjack Song is an example of this. Mm-hmm. I think we've brought this person up before on a mailbag episode. There is a country artist named Ray Stevens who definitely was like in the 70s and 80s before he started to get real political in his content, was kind of the country Weird Al.
Yes.
But he had a song called The Pirate Song that I think touches on a similar theme. But especially with the Pirate Song, a little bit with Lumberjack Song, those always felt a little bit punching down as opposed to subversive. The concept of the pirate song is that a very effeminate sounding pirate would rather be singing and dancing in a Broadway show than being a pirate. This honestly, I think, avoids as much of the problematic label because it just is stating the circumstances, and it doesn't say like, isn't it so weird that this is that? Like, it's just like, yeah, I'm just driving my truck and I got my boa on and I'm wearing a thong and I got my high heels on my feet. Like what's it to you? Like, I can still kick your ass. Like, that's kind of the tone of the song almost in a weird way, where it's like, no matter what the interpretation is, I think that the narrator seems very proud and confident in who they are.
Yes.
And B, they seem like they've got the attitude of like, if you want to say something about this, I'll beat the shit out of you. Like, it's like,
absolutely.
So, like, I kind of like that.
There is this like moment, this attitude of like, why would anyone say anything about it? Like, it's just, here's a series of facts.
That's really what it is, and that's and that's where it is the most parallel to Lumberjack Song, which, for what it's worth, for people who are not familiar with this, and I did a refresh on it right before we started this episode. The premise of Lumberjack Song is really almost exactly the same. This person talking about their life as a lumberjack, and the comedy of it really is that it's a person singing, and then there's like a choir echoing all of their sentiment, and as they echo the sentiments, they get more and more confused by what the person is saying. So like at the top, it's, I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. I sleep all night and I work all day. I cut down trees. I eat my lunch. I go to the lavatory. On Wednesdays, I go shopping and have buttered scones for tea, which is where it starts to take a change. Then I cut down trees. I skip and jump. I like to press wildflowers. I put on women's clothing and I hang around bars. I cut down trees. I wear high heels, suspenders, and a bra. I wish I were a girly, just like my dear papa. And it's just getting more and more away from the lumberjack stereotypes as it goes. And this person's revealing all these things about themselves. But again, I would say, I mean, okay, I'm sure they are making a joke at the expense a little bit, but the joke is not targeting, I don't think the joke is targeting people who are cross-dressing or going into drag or anything like that. The joke is that you are making the wrong assumption about a lumberjack.
Right.
That's the joke. And that's the joke about this too, is that you are making the wrong assumption about this person driving a big old truck.
But I also think that what makes this song particularly smart, and, you know, I feel like this is a topic that Al would avoid answering head on if I know anything about Weird Al Yankovic.
Right.
But I think that it's not an accident that he chooses to do this in the style of country music, which especially at this time had this very problematic, super hyper masculine, sexist, homophobic angle to it. So to take that genre and try, I don't know if this is his biggest success, but it does seem like he's trying to make a queer anthem out of a genre of music that still in 2025 is not very opening to queer ideas across the board.
And I would agree with that. And the thing that separates it, to me at least, from something like the Lumberjack Song, where the background vocalists are getting more and more maybe not horrified by these revelations, but they are very much reacting like, what are you doing? Like,
as they're echoing all the lyrics I just said, they get more and more confused and annoyed and like wait, what are we singing? What are you saying? Like, that's the comedy of it that way.
You know, but with Al's, it is, again, it's just this straight country song. If you weren't listening to the lyrics, there's no betrayal of comedy. Like, there's no like there's just no overstatement in a way. like it is just played straight, so to speak, and just like we're just going down this road, also, so to speak. I kind of can't help myself. Sorry.
But now I need to ask you, Jeff, because you were the only person who wrote this down as one of the songs that they would want to talk about on this album. And I'm sure that I can maybe make a guess on why, but I guess a spoiler alert, I do this a lot lately for my rankings. This has kind of consistently been among my least favorite songs.
Interesting.
On Running with Scissors, mostly like just because I'm like, it's just not for me. Like, I'm not that big of a country fan to begin with, and I just think that it's like not his biggest home run in an album that is stacked with a lot of home runs. And this isn't like, it's not like it's going to be at the bottom of my list by any stretch of the imagination, but it's like when you have so many heavy hitters on the album, this seems like the easy one to be like, well, that's probably not my favorite. Like, is this one of your favorite songs on this album?
It is one of my favorite songs on this album for a couple of reasons. I mean, growing up, my dad had, C.W. McCall blaring. My dad loved country music.
C.W. McCall is a big reference on this too. Yeah, for sure.
So hearing this, C.W. McCall, if you don't know, had a hit with a song called Convoy, and it's all about these truckers just banding together, and
which I believe was also the theme song to a movie of the same name, if I'm not
Convoy.
If I'm not wrong.
Was it?
Oh, maybe.
I think there's a movie called Convoy that it was written for.
Sure.
I'll have a look. But
I'll take a look.
It feels like this. If you're going to do a country song, which he hasn't done in 15 years at this point. Maybe. Oh no, I guess Achy Breaky counts.
Achy Breaky, maybe Good Enough for Now. Definitely touches on country a little bit for sure. Yeah.
To clarify real quick, there is in fact a movie called Convoy that is based on the song Convoy. It is a road action comedy film directed by Sam Peckinpah and starring Chris Christopherson, Ernest Borgnine, and Burt Young.
Wow.
And it is a play on the CB radio trucking craze films like Duel, Hijack, Smokey and the Bandit, and Breaker Breaker. Like, it was kind of a parody. It was almost a parody film of all those things. And of course, in this song, Smokey and the Bandit gets a shout out where he says he's got some Smokies on his tail.
Yep. I need to watch this movie, clearly.
I believe I only know about this because it's been listed as one of the worst films ever made.
That is not going to frighten me away.
Yeah, it says the film. Oh, this is actually really funny. The film received mixed reviews from the critics, but it is the most commercially successful film in Sam Peckinpah's career.
What?
Hey. Well done, Sam.
This is the man who made The Wild Bunch.
Those truckers come out for the movies, man. They want to be represented up there.
They like to be represented.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I'm not looking at the Sam Peckinpah Wikipedia anymore. What you were getting at is you were surrounded by this type of music, so already you had a foot in the door for the reference point, which maybe other people didn't. Because even when my parents listened to country, they listened to Garth Brooks and Alan Jackson, which is distinctly not this genre of country.
This is old school 70s, 80s country. There is a very specific subgenre of this kind of song, Truck Drivin' Man, which is basically what this is a parody of. It is, that is this song. That is this genre of just trucker country hits. And there is, for me, this in the late 90s, I was very much struggling with who I was and who I became. And so I wasn't out of the closet yet. And there's this voice coming in sort of proclaiming how proud he is of, whatever. I'm driving a truck and I'm wearing women's clothes. So what?
Yep.
And it's great. For somebody like me, that's great.
I was going to say, in my research for this, there's a bunch of course, with all these things, there's a whole there's multiple Reddit posts, people talking about did this song age poorly? Is it still? And most people in the comments who identified as queer, LGBTQ in any way, most of those people were like, I see nothing offensive in this inherently. If anything, it is just another example of, again, it's not about Al punching down on people, like, it's not a joke at the expense of the character. The joke of the song is the subversion of the idea of what you expect this person to be versus what they actually are. And nothing about it reads as mean or making fun in the wrong way. Like, I feel like in terms of the subversion and the cultural thing, it reminds me of another one of Al's songs, which people have struggled with in recent years because of how we now view these things. But like Buy Me a Condo is another example of a song that's sort of like subverting a cultural norm and flipping it on its head in another way. And I think sometimes when we're confronted with that, we feel a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I don't think in either case, Al is making fun of the people in the song. It's the idea of these people behaving in a way completely different than what we're told they're supposed to, in the way that we're told they're supposed to behave.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
The societal norms of
exactly
these things. Like,
yeah.
A truck driver is generally not probably going to be wearing a feather boa and high heels because of the way they slip off the mother loving clutch.
The mother loving clutch. God, I love that line so much. Slipping off the mother loving clutch. The way, with that low voice he had. Oh my God. We also we must talk about Al's vocal performance on this track,
so
which is
good.
really unbelievable. That this is him. Yeah.
I have a story. I was reading
Yes.
Lily's book, Weird Al Seriously, because she has a whole page, like 2 pages dedicated to this. And Al said that the only way he could get that gravelly, deep voice was he woke up first thing in the morning, got in his car, drove to the studio, and the first words out of his mouth was him recording the vocal track for Truck Driving Song so that he would have that, like, deep, gravelly voice that he, under most circumstances, cannot produce in a normal way.
I saw another thing, people online accusing him of not really, but being like, oh, he must have done some studio trickery or something to sound like that. And he just woke up and did it. It's wonderful. And again, really like what you just said, Jeff, again, like everything about this song to me, the performance, the lyrics, the way it all comes together feels so positive. There's nothing about this that seems negative at all. It feels very affirmative and very like how proud this person is of their job.
Yeah,
who they are and what they do.
Like fantasy of this character, they're driving their truck all night till the break of dawn, and then they're heading to the hair salon, and then they're going to a drag brunch. Like that is what I want for this character.
And and I think that's where Al's correct in the sense of like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like if you're, I feel like it's written in a way where, like, if you're queer, it feels like a queer empowerment song. And if you're a woman, it feels like a female empowerment song. Like, he's kind of walking that line of, like, depending on your read of it, it's either a girl who's doing a badass, presumably masculine job, or it's an anthem of that same situation with a queer person.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, really cool that he's able to kind of check off 2 boxes, but I also totally understand why people think the opposite in the sense of, I don't know, it's also not like, because it's not direct in that line, it's easy for anybody to interpret it as anything.
Yeah.
But like, Al is not really, in the grand scheme of his career, there's like 4 times where I would say, oh, this song's punching down.
Yeah.
It's usually, to me, if this song's punching down on anything, it's punching down on country music for having such a gatekeepy entranceway in the first place.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Another, just back to the communities of people who would appreciate this. Another one in my Reddit search, truck drivers. My first visit to the truckers subreddit, because why would I ever go there? And there are multiple posts of people going like, how awesome is this?
Nice.
Like, really, a lot of love from the truck driving community for Truck Drivin Song. I was surprised to see that. Very little snark. People would just be like, yeah, this is great.
Nice. And that speaks to how well produced and performed this song is.
Yeah.
Like it is.
Absolutely.
It's a trucker anthem.
Absolutely.
The lyrics are a little off, maybe. They're a little crazy, a little weird.
Yes.
But musically, it's a trucker anthem.
But he also, I mean, and this goes to Jim West, obviously, but like he has nailed the exact
Spectacular
guitar tone that you Like if you were like, hey, what does the guitar sound like if someone's driving a truck? he nails it in the first 2 seconds.
Yep.
That like, I'm like, yep, I feel like I should be in a car listening to this song. It felt weird listening to it in my basement. It felt like I wasn't active enough.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.
Shopping is hard, right? But there's a better way. Stitch Fix Online Personal Styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And she sends just for me pieces. Plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what I love and send back the rest. It's so easy. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Creating really great retail experiences with multiple stores, teams, and workflows is tough. But with Shopify's point-of-sale system, you can do it across thousands of locations without complexity. It's a unified command center, bringing together in-store and online operations so customers can shop how they want, and staff have the tools to close every sale. Check out shopify.com/special offer and create the best retail experiences without complexity.
Do you like to laugh, geek out on music, and learn all about that band or artist who had that one song back in the day, but then seemed to fall off the face of the earth? If so, you need to subscribe to One Hit Thunder. Together with an array of interesting and hilarious guests, we do a weekly dive into one-hit wonders like Eiffel 65's Blue, Krayshawn's Gucci Gucci, EMF's Unbelievable, Delamitri's Roll to Me, Los Del Rio's Macarena, Musical Youth's Pass the Dutchie, and even Patrick Swayze's She's Like the Wind. So are you subscribed to One Hit Thunder or what? As Desiree would say, you gotta be. And as K7 would encourage, you gotta come baby come and join in on the fun of the One Hit Thunder podcast.
I moved to LA in the fall of '99, and so this song was one of our road trip anthems for sure.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, Jim's guitar playing in this it can't be overstated how great it is. His guitar solo he does in the middle could have come right out of a Nashville recording session. It is just absolutely perfect. The band, of course, once again, nail the aesthetic that they're going for on this track, which is really pretty traditional, like old school American country, musically at least.
Yeah.
No, excellent performances all around. And, just to go back to the lyrical sentiment one more time, I was struck by, just talking to you guys about it, another example we had was on this record when we were talking about Pretty Fly for a Rabbi. And I looked that up online, and there's a common thing, and I really do think this is more of a marker of where we are in the world today. And this is a good thing, where so many people online, so many non-Jewish people online making posts going, is this okay? Followed up by Jewish people going, I think it's great.
Well,
and,
I mean, last week Eric Connor said it best.
You know what I mean?
Like Eric Connor was like, yeah, in 1999, I was looking for any type of representation in music at that point. Like there is that. It's sad to think that it was even as recently as 99, 2000 that we were still in a representation by any means necessary attitude. But like Al was providing that in a very big way, similar to how we talked about with like Jerry Springer and like the Howard Stern attitude of like, there's a lens where you could look at that and say like, this was exploitative and mocking, but they would retort back with like, no one else was even talking about these topics at the time.
Yeah,
like,
things have changed now, and now we have conversations about including people from these communities with these voices and elevating those voices. But at that time, forever, those people were so removed from the conversation. And I'm talking about any sort of, it seems...
anything that wasn't just straight white
incredibly
man, really.
mainstream. Yeah, yeah. If you were even remotely subculture or remotely fringe from the norm, getting your point of view across was really, really hard to do unless you were making very fringe content.
Yeah.
And so now we think about these things through these lenses of just like, we now have a conversation like, well, is it okay for a cis white man to do a song about a subject matter like this? Or is it okay for a Christian or even just a non-Jewish person to write a song all about Jewish stereotypes? Nowadays, we tighten up a little bit at that idea. Like, is that okay? Are we not doing the right thing by making fun in these ways? But I always feel like it's like the proof is in the pudding when you look at this stuff. And maybe it just comes from my background, having lived through these different time periods now, where it's like, I don't get any sort of hate or even mockery in any of these songs as much as I get celebration of different types of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always how I see it.
I feel like Al's version of this is a much more optimistic version of this.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember years ago there was an interview with Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who were making South Park.
Yeah.
And they had this attitude, which I kind of agree with to a certain extent, where it was like, look, if you've watched 20 years of our show and laughed at every offensive thing that we did, but then when it was about something that was important to you, you got offended, that's your problem. like it was kind of this idea of like, in a weird way, South Park's attitude was, if we make fun of every single thing possible, there's like a weird unity in that, where it's like, we're not punching down on anybody, we're punching down on everybody.
Right. Yeah,
right. like, and then suddenly you're not singling out somebody. It, like, in a weird subversive way, becomes a celebration. Al doesn't go through it with that many loopholes that you have to, to jump through.
Well, Al also doesn't hit as hard as South Park did. Like, South Park was going for the jugular on everybody. And Al doesn't do that. He's not interested in doing that, which is, I think, is great. I mean, I like South Park, of course.
I love it. Listen.
It also reminds me of, we said it again recently with Jerry Springer. There's an interview with Jerry Springer towards the end of his life where someone was like, do you feel like you were, the transgender community hated you? Do you feel like that was warranted? And his response was, every community hated us. It was not, we were mocking everyone, and the only people who came on our show were people who were doing a terrible job representing the community that they were there with, because they were awful, awful people. And again, like, the legacy of Jerry Springer is dicey at best, but that sentiment, I understand. I do get that. You know, if you're going to make a show like that, it has to be fair. You have to do it across the board.
He definitely had a lot of regret from watching the 2-part docuseries.
I know, I haven't seen the documentary yet.
Netflix, but there's like, I think it's from like 2019 or so.
Okay.
He was like on a Larry King live interview, and Larry King asked him, what's the worst show in television history? And he said, mine. Like, he was like, wow. And he like said it somewhat jokingly, but he's like, no, seriously, like, what I did ruined society and like the amount of remorse that I think Jerry Springer had towards the end of his life about what his show made acceptable to a certain extent, because it, you know, I think that he was glad to celebrate people who were different in a certain way, but giving this attitude that the biggest bully is the winner, I think there's a direct line to where we are politically right now, that he, I think, took a lot of shame and guilt with him for that. Well, unless we have, I know this is a little bit of a shorter episode right now, but do we have other things we want to talk about with Truck Driving Song, or do we want to get into the ranking of this?
I would like to just mention, like, how strange it is. Not strange, but, like, you know, this album as a whole has come after Al's, you know, Saturday Morning Kids show, where he was had to be squeaky clean. Like, you know, he subverted it a little bit.
Wow.
Here and there, where he could.
You're about to talk about something I did not think about until this second. I know where you're going.
You know, we're in the 90s. We're doing Jerry Springer. We're doing, like, these people are top of mind. These characters are top of mind, and they are as far away from a Saturday Morning Kids show as you can get. So he's doing Jerry Springer, which comes right after the Weird Al Show theme on the record, which I feel like was probably purposefully placed just to juxtapose it.
That's a good observation, Jeff. We did not think about that. That is wow. Yeah.
Yeah, you get Germs, which I give let's say that Al is a kid's content creator. Like, what kid is listening to 9 Inch Nails at this time, really? Like it this whole album weirdly seems like a celebration of all of the things that you would assume his key demographic shouldn't be tied to, minus like Saga Begins.
Right. So then you get to, the truck driving song, and it's, there's themes of cross-dressing, there's themes of drag, there's themes of subverting these standard masculine stereotypes. Again, it's going to go over a lot of kids' heads, like, ha ha ha, it's Bugs Bunny and drag. Like, it's just funny on its surface and whatever.
Sure.
But as you think about it, because Al does think about things, there's a message. This is a reflection of where we were societally in the 90s. Like, this is a representation of what was going on in the culture.
I absolutely agree. You're right.
And I think that it's interesting if we're talking about placement and song after, like what songs come before or after. I think that this song holds up under the microscope and ages better over time, way more than the song that comes after it, which I think has, the more I think about some of the lyrics that show up in the song we're going to be talking about next week, the more I go like, man, how does this one feel meaner than when he tackled similar topics 10, 15 years ago in a strange way? So I'm very interested to deep dive into that.
I have thoughts. I mean, whatever. That's not what this episode's about. So I'm not. I'll withhold.
But your point. Yeah. No, I mean, your point is well taken, Jeff. This really is like, I hadn't thought about this album through that lens, but it is like on the edgier side of anything he ever made. A lot of like subject matter in this track. I mean, honestly, even if we're talking about the kids' appeal, like the Saga Begins sort of, because it's talking about Star Wars, which was like really hyped for kids at that time, but he's also doing American Pie. Like, no, like that's not a kid reference that like that's weird. Like he is, I do think this was, I had never thought of it before, but in terms of maybe him adjusting back following an attempt at a kid show and being like, you know what, I want to lean slightly more into the 13 side of PG-13 again.
Right.
And push this a little bit more. I think that's, of course, he's never really been super, like, he's never been too over the top and never cussed or anything like that. But in terms of subject matter and overall presentation, this album is, a little bit more, certainly a lot more dangerous than his TV show. And arguably, significantly more than even Bad Hair Day.
Yeah, I mean, like dangerous is a great word. I mean, he's literally running with scissors on the cover.
He's literally running with scissors.
Like,
no, it fits this. Yeah,
that is what we're facing here. Like, he is just, he's telling us right on the cover, like, this is maybe, it's for kids, but maybe also not the younger ones. Or
totally,
just be mindful, parents.
Exactly, and in that sense, as a dangerous song, and as like this, because I think this is a dangerous. I mean, the fact that we're even talking about it now is like, is this okay? Is it not? It's a testament to this. This song has some weight behind it.
Yeah.
It's really very interesting. And
and I did talk to some trans friends and some LGBTQ buddies, and listen, they're all Al fans. Like like this is a small sample.
Sure.
But it does. It feels celebratory for the community in a way that he may or may not have intended, but it's the same thing as when he proclaims to be weird.
Exactly.
It's this thing of like, this is someone that I can look up to that is forging their own path.
That is weird.
And
it's good to be weird.
Yeah,
it's good to be weird, which is generally a huge part of his overall attitude. I'll also say, in terms of the positivity, there's no better way in your song to drive home a triumph like "we love this person" than to throw in a key change.
Yes.
Which they do at the end of this song, like the lift, I'm driving like, oh my God, like it is this is a celebration of that character. I could not be convinced otherwise.
Yes.
I
It
absolutely
gives me
couldn't.
chills.
It does. I could understand why someone could look at these words on a page and be like, whoa, really? But in the context of the song, and I mean, again, I'm a straight dude saying this, but it never occurred to me that this would have been like hateful or offensive in that way, or even just making a mockery of this group of people. I never, ever saw it that way. If you did, I get it. But to me, this always felt celebratory of this character, whoever they are. As Al pointed out, as you pointed out, like, we really don't know much about this person other than that they are fabulous and love their job.
Yeah, they're driving a truck and they have a hell of an outfit on.
They love it.
And I love it too, but probably not as much as the rest of you. When it comes time for ranking this will go in my like lower middle. So I'm putting it between I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead and Spy Hard. I definitely think it's better than Spy Hard, but I am way more likely to listen to I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead if I was given the two options.
That may actually be a hate crime, but okay.
Jeez, Matt.
Wouldn't be the first time, wouldn't be the last time. All right, how about you, Milligan?
I'm going to put it... God, it's so tough. I say this every time, but the ranking originals is so much harder than the parodies for me. Just because there's so many things I'm trying to factor in, like, because this is definitely a style thing for sure, but it's not a style parody in the same way as like Germs, which we just talked about. It doesn't feel like that at all.
I've literally gotten to the point where my decision making is like, I just put the song at the very bottom of my list, and I think, all right, if I could only choose between this song or the song above me, which would I listen to? And I just keep moving it upward until I hit a song where I would rather listen to over it.
That's fair.
Because that's the only way I feel like I can do it anymore with all these songs.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to compare it to another song on this record, and I'm going to put it one spot above My Baby's in Love with Eddie Vedder.
Ooh.
Okay.
Which puts it just below Since You've Been Gone, which is kind of like my upper middle section of my list here. Definitely a higher ranking than I initially thought I was going to do for this. But honestly, the more that we talked about it, the more than we felt like we were celebrating it. I also really enjoyed revisiting this song today. Like when I threw it on, I kind of did it. If I'm honest with our listeners, we recorded It's All About the Pentiums and this song on the same day. And I spent so much time researching Pentiums because there was so much to like look into on that track. And I took a while, and then I just threw this on and be like, oh yeah, and I got to remind myself of this. And as soon as I played it, I was like, oh, this is so fun. I just felt so happy. I smiled the whole time. I'm like, this is just like a delightful ditty.
It is.
I mean, if not for the Weird Al theme song showing up on this album, it would be the shortest song on the album by like a mile. It is a brisk like 2 minute and 15 second
breezes right by.
track.
Even with a healthy guitar solo in the middle, it just it goes down real smooth.
Now, Jeff, your favorite part, I think, about being on the podcast is this portion where you get to put the song anywhere you want it.
Yes.
So we'll start with that. Where are you putting Truck Driving Song?
Good question. Let's go just below Nature Trail to Hell.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. So I think that's in like the 15 or 16 category. Not bad.
Nice.
Now you get to move a song anywhere you want on the list.
I need to check and see where 6 Words Long is.
6 Words Long is pretty high up in here. It's in the top 5 right now.
Okay. As long as it's safe there, that's fine.
I love the return guests who are just checking up on a song of like that's important to you. We have people who are always checking up on Eat It, on Nature Trail to Hell. A lot of people with opinions on Taco
Nature Trail
Grande.
to Hell. If there was a Fitbit for those songs, they have been getting their steps
hard.
in.
Up and down, up and down.
Everyone loves The Saga Begins. So I'm going to go ahead and put that at the bottom.
Really?
Yeah, I am.
All right.
Yeah. Eat It's been at the bottom a lot, but you know what? Saga Begins. It's fine.
I love that.
It's no 6 words long. There, I said it.
It's no 6 words long. It's apparently also no taco grande. You're living with a hernia.
I love throwing them to the bottom. That's my favorite thing. I wish I could be a guest.
It's a power move.
It is.
I love it. Well, Jeff, thank you as always for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I love it. Always.
Yeah, I said it at the top, but I really appreciate you joining us for this one. This was definitely good to have your voice in the mix on a track like this.
I love it.
Yeah, I think left to our own devices, this would have been like a 15-minute long episode.
We would have been like, I guess I don't
know. As with everybody who has a Weird Al podcast, we are extremely excited for the eventual release of formerly Showgals, currently
Titan
Nerdy.
Nerdy.
To be stupid, Titan Nerdy. We don't even hold it against you that you didn't interview us for it, but
I think we might have just missed you on that. I feel like you were finishing it up when we met, right?
Yeah. But if you guys want to perform at SF Sketchfest with the ladies, go ahead.
Hey, now we're talking.
Listen, I know that you'll make it up to us when you invite us to do the commentary track on the DVD. So
absolutely,
dude. Actually, real talk.
I don't want to do it.
If you get an option to have a couple commentary tracks, there should be one that's just all the Weird Al podcasters together watching the movie and talking.
Oh yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
I mean, 100% yes.
Yeah, let's do that. But Jeff, if people want to know updates and things that are going on with Titan Nerdy, where can they go?
Please go to titannerdymovie.com. And yes, and that's also our name on all the socials that are not right-wing crazies at this point.
So what, like Blue Sky and that's it?
Yep.
You've got a different name on the right-wing crazy ones, but we're not going to talk about that. It's a whole other account.
Build a routine with Ollie that supports your wellness needs, like getting your daily vitamins and minerals with Ollie's multi-gummies, or keeping your mood upbeat with all the vitamin D in Hello Happy. Give your gut health some support with probiotics, and wake up feeling refreshed after taking Ollie Sleep. Do wellness on your terms. Find Ollie at a Walmart or Target near you or at ollie.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.